There didn't seem to be so much, but Prabhupada just mentioned Mayavadis once in the purport, and next thing you know, we had a very long discussion on Mayavadis. So no problem. What's it? Yeah, do whatever you have to do. Seemed to be so much, but Prabhupada just mentioned Mayavadi. Also, I just want to appreciate when Ben is here with us, our kirtan is definitely vastly improved. So Ben, I hope you can come do kirtan more often. Yeah, do your best. We're here. Yeah, but we're here. But when you're after the work day is done or anything like that, we're always here. We're doing our thing. So very happy when you're here. All right. So let's do our invocation verses for Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And our three invocation verses, which explain what we do and why we do it. Rayanam Namaskritya Brahmachaiva Narottamam, all together. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayed. You know what it means yet, Tanmay? Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer their respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan, reach the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. All of the lineage of personalities from the Supreme Lord all the way down to us through the Guru Parampara, so that we can receive the Lord's wisdom, knowledge. So we offer them our obeisances because we are grateful. This is one of the themes of the week, is gratitude, thankfulness, thanksgiving. We should be most thankful to our teachers and those who are presenting us with a way of life that is superior to what we know. Our first gurus in this life were our parents, but then in spiritual life we also kind of have to take birth. That's what initiation is. Everyone thinks initiation is some big accomplishment, but yes, it's like coming out of the womb, but now you have a whole life to live. So this is actually the spiritual process. So anyhow, birth is the this is our process. We want to be very thankful for our great teachers. So we offer them obeisances first. Next. Shrinvatam Svagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Redyantastoya Bhadrani. Sri Krishna, who is the Paramatma, the super soul in the heart of each living entity, and the benefactor of who? The truthful devotee. He cleanses the heart of material desires from the devotee who has developed the urge to do what? Yes. Hear his messages, which... Hear his messages. Yes. Clearly there too. That could be in there too. Why not? But hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So that's what Bhagavatam is. It's the messages of Krishna and Krishna's great devotees. And it'll cleanse our heart of material desires. What's the benefit of cleansing the heart of material desires? What do material desires give us? Suffering, yes. They ruin our life. Wonderful. So anyhow. Nashta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavata yutamashloke bhaktivati. By regular attendance on classes of the Bhagavatam, or it could be translated by regular hearing of the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, almost all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. So by doing this process, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam means what? Eternally, or constantly, regularly, always. Nityam. Bhagavat means what? There's two Bhagavats.
And people also like Bhagavats.
So Bhagavat is the message of Bhagavan. And there's two forms. The book form, but then the person form as well. Like especially the Guru. And then sevaya is what?
So,
Yes, service. By service, regularly, nityam bhagavata sevaya, by regularly serving the message of Bhagavan, of Bhagavan, the Bhagavat. You'll be cleansed. Almost all that's troublesome to the heart will be completely destroyed, and love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs establishes an irrevocable fact. So you'll get the guaranteed fruit of spiritual life, which is prema for Bhagavan. Now, it's a gradual process, and to actually become nityam means always. It's always happening. Not like, all right, I'm going to see if I can do it once a week, or the morning portion of my day. Actually, the spiritual practitioner becomes so advanced that they're always doing it. No matter what they're doing, it's out of Bhagavat Sevaya. So anyhow, that's how love is fully established. And so let's do our process here, our due diligence in reading Bhagavatam. We are on 1.8.16. If we have to recap, I don't think we have too much. Ashvatthama threw another Brahmastra at the Pandavas, and this time at Emperor Parikshit, who's in Uttara's womb. And Uttara came to Krishna as he was about to leave Hastinapur and finally go back to Dwarka because the war appeared over. But Ashvatthama appears to have again tried to strike, and even though he just couldn't seem to, even though he was defeated. But anyhow, Krishna himself took up his weapon and he was ready to defend. So now, let's continue. Text 16. Mamamsta hetadashcharyam sarvashcharyam mayechute yaidam mayaya devya srijatya vatihantya jaha ma, do not, mamsta, think, he, certainly, etat, all these, ashcharyam, wonderful, sarva, all, ashcharyamaye, in the all mysterious, achute, the infallible, yaha, one who, idam, this creation, mayaya, by his energy, devya, transcendental, srijati, creates, avati, maintains, hanti, annihilates, aja, unborn. Translation: O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Prabhupada is saying, the activities of the Lord are always inconceivable to the tiny brain of the living entities. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, but all his actions are wonderful for us, and thus he is always beyond the range of our conceivable limits. The Lord is the all-powerful, all-perfect personality of Godhead. The Lord is 100% or 100% perfect, whereas others, namely Narayan, Brahma, Shiva, the demigods, and all other living beings, possess only different percentages of such perfection. No one is equal to or greater than him. He is unrivaled. Okay. We'll just glorify the Gurus real quick.
As I have this, I hope it's not offensive question. So here the Narayan is also mentioned as a demigod.
Yes, not as a demigod, but as
combined in the statement.
Yes. So and you're asking why?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Narayan is controlling over the Vaikuntha lokas, and there's usually one Narayan for each universe.
Yeah.
So it's like an expansion of the Supreme Lord. It's still an absolute, it's a plenary expansion. So Narayan, it's mentioned in the Bhakti Shastras that there are 64 qualities of Krishna. Narayan possesses 60 of those qualities. He's the topmost not living entity. He's actually an expansion of the Lord. But he's the topmost expansion that has all but 4 of those qualities that Krishna has. Lord Shiva actually can have 58 of those qualities. So actually Shiva is even higher than Brahma. So he also has a high percentage of the qualities of Krishna. And Brahma can have 54 of those qualities. And that's the max a living entity can reach. 54 of those qualities. So he's referencing what's mentioned by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the wonderful qualities of the Supreme Lord. And if we have to understand, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is not that Krishna is an incarnation, and Srimad Bhagavatam, he's not an incarnation of Vishnu. All the Vishnus are incarnations of him. So that's the difference there. So why you might be wondering, because you've probably heard that Krishna is an incarnation of Narayan, right, or something like that. So why would Narayan have only a portion of, Krishna seems to be a portion of him. But no, Krishna is actually coming through the schedule of Narayan on even a higher platform. So this is actually the conclusion of Bhagavatam. I don't know if you remember, there was a verse we read a few chapters back which mentioned the line, Krishnas tu Bhagavan Swayam. And that means Krishna is the source of all incarnations, including all the Narayans. And we mentioned the three different types of Narayans, right? There's the Mahavishnu, the Karanadakshaya Vishnu, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
When Krishna has all the complete qualities, so he becomes not different from Narayan then, because every incarnation has some of the less qualities of Narayan or Krishna. But Krishna is called the complete avatar. Completeness means he is not different from Narayan, or he is same as Narayan.
No, Krishna has extended qualities beyond Narayan that Narayan can never manifest.
Not the Narayan, not the universe, the person who is in the universe Narayan, so the ultimate Narayan, what we call it, the creator.
Yes, but Krishna he will actually even go above the qualities of Narayan. So he has certain relationships with his devotees, leelas, his mastery of the flute, and the affection with the devotees is unmatched. Like in Narayan worship, and this is, you can see this even, it's one of awe and reverence. The whole Madhurya Rati, which is like the affection of the Madhurya Ras, which is pretty much the whole speciality of Vrindavan, can never be experienced in any type of Narayan worship. So there's a whole realm that's off limits to any devotee of Narayan that only a devotee of Krishna can achieve. And only Krishna in that form as Krishna. If you remember in Bhagavad Gita at the end of the 11th chapter, Krishna reveals his cosmic universal form. And then Arjuna asks to see what form. Do you remember? Well, before the human, he does get to the human form. He wants to see the four-armed Narayan form.
Universal form, yeah.
And then he wants to see the four-armed Narayan form. And then Arjuna says, but I miss you as Krishna, my friend. And so Krishna then explains at the end of that chapter that actually the form that you see now is the most difficult to achieve. And that this is, I only reveal this form to my very confidential devotees. Like even, to have like a Krishna as your friend is such a high thing. Even like Duryodhana, who apparently also saw Krishna, he wasn't actually seeing Krishna. Krishna was revealing a different form to him. But for Arjuna, his friend, his devotees, Krishna's Bhakta Vatsal, he's so affectionate. And he reveals a different layer of himself that no one else is going to be able. So this is, this is a little bit of semantical, a little bit of, a lot of technicalities. And actually a lot of Vedic scholars will argue and get in debate about this point. But the Goswamis of Vrindavan and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasize this. And actually there's mention in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where there's a Venkat Bhatta who was the lead priest, I believe, at Tirupati temple at the time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually, he was giving him Shastric evidence why worship of Krishna is higher than worship of Narayan. And so Venkat Bhatta, they were going back and forth, and I forget exactly the, but basically he referenced a lot of different leelas and a lot of different exchanges with the devotees that showed the clear superiority of the devotees of Krishna rather than the devotees of Narayan. And actually Venkat Bhatta, who was the head priest of the Tirupati temple, his heart became changed, and he converted. And his son, who's known as Gopal Bhatta Goswami, was one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and ultimately he was the guru of one of the prime spreaders of Vaishnavism all over the world. His name is Srinivasacharya. So anyhow, this pastime, if you want to actually look more into this, there's a whole chapter on this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you can actually you could see the conclusions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I can do my best to share it, but it's but so I understand what you're saying. Well, why Narayan? Especially in popular, you could say Hindu thought that Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. He's the 8th incarnation of Vishnu or something like this. But when all the incarnations of Vishnu were mentioned earlier in the Bhagavatam, it was clarified when Krishna came that Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, that this Krishna is actually the source of all incarnations. And he has, and it's proven in, if you read the Nectar of Devotion, you can get into the 64 qualities of Krishna and the 60 qualities of Narayan. So that'll be there. Is that satisfactory? You don't look satisfied, but what can I...
No, I have not knowledge. I don't have any Vedic knowledge, so I cannot question on anything that you say. So
Yeah.
I was just curious with the word that is, because generally when we chant 10 offenses, it's just Lord Brahma and Shiva. But right now you just mentioned Narayan as well, 3 people. So
Yes. So, well, it's different to actually, like for instance, we just glorified Narayan in the beginning of our Bhagavatam prayers, right? So it's not that we also Hari, also in Hare, it indicates Narayan. It can indicate Narayan. There's deeper Gaudiya understandings where it could actually indicate Radharani, but at the same time, at the most surface level, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is indicating Hari, which is Narayan, right? But at the same time, that's not offensive to the holy name to equate the two, Narayan and Krishna. But to equate Brahma and Shiva with even Narayan, but what's to speak of Krishna, is considered offensive because they're actually still in the material platform. So, but Prabhupada is actually saying that Krishna is 100% perfect, whereas others, and he mentions Narayan, which is a form of Krishna. Brahma is a form of Krishna. Shiva, you're a form of Krishna. Everyone is a form of Krishna. But we are only a manifestation of Krishna's fullness in a small percentage. We're infinitesimal little Krishnas, meaning like we're all like 0.0000000, like 1% of Krishna, or something like this. Yeah, but Narayan actually has a very high percentage expansion of Krishna. Brahma has a lower percentage expansion of Krishna, and Shiva is in between Narayan and Brahma, and like this. So anyway, I hope that's satisfactory. I did my best. Yeah. No. It's a good thing. You have to remember, there's one Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's infinitely variegated, and that infinite variegation is meeting him in full to very small percentages and degrees, and there's different expansions that reach a certain percentage and so on. So that's really all it is. Just some. This is mentioned in Nectar of Devotion and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami actually he breaks it all down from you, giving it's all Shastric evidence. The Goswamis did nothing but study the Vedic Shastras and reach these conclusions. And so, they were the greatest. They defeated all of the other scholars at the time in debates and things. There were so many things like this there. And even there's one pastime where one scholar wanted to challenge Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa and Sanatana Goswami said, no, we'll just accept defeat. We don't need to your challenge. But Jiva Goswami, who was the nephew of Rupa Goswami, and he was also one of the Goswamis, he said, no, I'll accept your challenge, even though Rupa Goswami actually got very angry with him for doing this. And he accepted the challenge, and he just soundly defeated him in all kinds of debate. And, through the way, there's a Vedic way to debate. There's shastras on how to debate. And Jiva Goswami just soundly just slaughtered him. Why? Because Jiva Goswami is, he's actually said to be, Prabhupada mentions, is the greatest philosopher of the Vaishnavas. He has all of the sound conclusions of the Shastras. And so, they're all following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lead. That's really, that's how they got so empowered, is by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly empowered them. But we are trying to fall in that line of mercy. There should be some level of question, there should be a level of doubt that has to be dispelled. Actually, unless a guru figure in your life can dispel your doubts, they cannot act as your guru. But you also have to be, you may be such a doubting personality that you're not ever going to be qualified for a guru, actually. So we have to actually be, we have to be honest and sincere as disciples, and this will attract the honest and sincere type of guru like this. So this is a very interesting topic. I never know what I'm going to get with Bhagavatam. We think like, all right, this is it, but then all of a sudden we go in a completely different place. Do you guys want to can we glorify the gurus very quickly before we read on? Is that okay, Piyush? Happy enough? Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Slapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vidati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatham Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Paranasindo Dina Bando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaskate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhani Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Durvishcha Kripa Sindhu Devicha Patitanam Pavanabhu Vaishnave Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadara Srimad Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine So, all glory should go to the gurus, because this is the only way we're going to get knowledge, and it's explained in those prayers, the lineage of how that knowledge is passed down, right, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's an incarnation of Krishna, and then so on. It goes back all the way, and he teaches us how to properly worship Krishna, this Supreme Personality of Godhead in full. So let's keep reading, though. I want to just clarify, do not think, O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Don't think it's mysterious that he can take the form of the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, which is an Narayan expansion, and protect Parikshit Maharaj from the Brahmastra weapon. Brahmastra, Ben, if you don't know, it's like a nuclear weapon, but it's hyper-targeted. Yeah, yes, I remember now. So it's hyper-targeted, meaning it's like almost like heat-seeking, but even more potent than that. So it was thrown at the fetus within the womb of Arjuna's daughter-in-law, and who she was pregnant with the next heir to the kingdom, and if he were to be killed, it would end the lineage of the Pandavas, or the Kuru lineage. So anyhow, Arjuna and the Pandavas are ready to face the Brahmastra one more time. But Krishna, Hare Krishna, Craig, thank you for coming.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm so happy when you come. Craig is Michael's dad. You guys probably don't know that. Yes, but and Michael's off to work today, so we hope Michael has a great day. So on top of that, Krishna also, if you remember, he decided to break his vow because technically the war was still going on, and Krishna said he wasn't going to fight because he's Bhaktavatsal, which is one of the qualities of Krishna that's even beyond that of Narayan, is that he's extremely affectionate to the devotees, and he's willing to break all kinds of dharma and break all the worldly governing rules for the sake of his devotees, which is actually an amazing quality of Krishna, that he transcends dharma. We have so many, worldly moralities that we emphasize, and it's good. Imagine if the people of the world didn't have dharma, didn't have worldly morality, to know not to, to respect things like marriage, to respect things like honoring your parents, doing your duties, and so on. Imagine if the world didn't, subscribe to that at all. It would be chaos. It would be horrifying. But have a nice day, Michael. Hare Krishna. That's all right. Cheer up. So anyhow, we'll continue. Brahma Tejo Vinirmukte Atmajay Saha Krishnaya Prayana Bhimukham Krishnam Idamaha Prithasati Brahma Teja, the radiation of the Brahmastra, Vinirmuktai, being saved from Atmajay, along with her sons, Saha, with Krishnaya, Draupadi, Prayana, outgoing, Abhimukham, towards Krishnam, unto Lord Krishna, Idam, this, Aha, said, Prita, Kunti, Sati, chaste, and also devoted to the Lord, yes. Translation, thus saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons, and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. This is a very important part of the Bhagavatam we're about to enter. Queen Kunti's prayers. Purport. Kunti is described herein as sati, or chaste, due to her unalloyed devotion to Lord Sri Krishna. Her mind will now be expressed in the following prayers for Lord Krishna. A chaste devotee of the Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. This was all along the characteristic of the whole family of the Pandavas. They knew nothing except Krishna, and therefore the Lord was also always ready to help them in all respects and in all circumstances. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord. He reciprocates the dependence of the devotee. One should therefore look for help from imperfect one should not therefore look for help from imperfect living beings or demigods, but one should look for all help from Lord Krishna, who is competent to save his devotees. Such a chaste devotee also never asks the Lord for help, but the Lord, out of his own accord, is always anxious to render it. I actually had this experience the other day. You guys all went to help Mukunda move, and I had the last minute call from Shivadas. In order to close out on the properties, I need an attorney. So I'm like, and I have one day to do it. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm like calling all the attorneys, and they're just overcharging the crap out of me. I'm like, oh my God, $850 and that's for each thing. And I'm like, so I'm like, all right, I have to, I'm trying to use all my business negotiation skills to work them down, because I have some. I've been to India a few times, so I know how to haggle. Actually, I got the one guy down $150 on each deal because of he is like, man, you're really a haggler. I was like, yes, I've been to India a few times. That was exactly what I told him. So, but anyhow, how did I even get in contact with that guy? I got frustrated in the morning. And so I said, you know what? I'm wasting so much time doing this. Let me just sit and chant. And then just, and I reached out to my devotee friend, who I'm also doing this house deal with, Keshava. And I knew he had an attorney who did it much more affordably. So I was like, okay, let me reach out to him. But he wasn't answering. I guess he was working or whatever. And I'm like, I'm worried now. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Businesses are about to close for the whole weekend. Most were closing early, actually. But I said, no, just chant and trust. Krishna's going to take care. So I just did this the other day. And then all of a sudden, I finally get word back from Keshava. But his attorney, because we're doing this other house deal, did not want to actually become my attorney because it would become a conflict of interest. So he was like, but she'll refer you to another attorney. So she referred me to another attorney. I called him. They closed, they already just closed for the weekend. But I talked to his secretary, and I was just telling him, what I needed. And she was like, all right, well, let me see. He ends up calling me back after they closed. And it literally took 2 or 3 minutes, just bam, bam, bam. All right, and I haggled him a little bit. He went down on the price, and it was just perfectly arranged. And I was like, wow, I remember the story of Mrgari the hunter. We talked about it last night. How Narada Muni told Mrgari, because Mrgari he had sustained himself with hunting, but hunting was sinful, and Narada Muni told him to stop. Well, he was half killing animals, but he told him to stop half killing the animals. Just at least kill them. If you're going to kill them, kill them. But Mrgari then, he was asking why, and then Narada was telling him that the sins that he's going to accrue, making them suffer more. I mean, you're going to already get so many sins by killing the animals. But then Mrgari became curious. Well, what kind of sins are we talking about here? What am I getting myself into? So Narada told him, and he said, well, what do I do? Well, Narada said, well, do you really want to know what to do? And he's like, yes, please. He's like, all right, well, first break your bow. He's like, break my bow? This is how I support my wife. This is how I support my family. This is how I support myself. He said, break your bow and I'll tell you what to do. And just to give him a little faith, a little assurance, he revived all of the animals that Mrgari half killed. So now Mrgari's like, whoa, all right, I have faith. Boom, he breaks the bow. And Narada, what did he tell him to do? He told him to go give all of his possessions away to the saintly, the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas. And then he said, now go to the forest with your wife and build a little thatched cottage. Plant Tulsi, Maharani. Every day, whatever leaf falls from her, you take that leaf and you just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Everything will come to you. And what ended up happening? He did just that. Mrgari was well known for his hunting prowess in the region, and then all the people heard that this hunter stopped his killing and his brutal killing and became a saintly person. So naturally, what do? They want to go visit a saintly person. And when you visit a saintly person, one of the things you're supposed to do is bring a gift, a tribute. So next thing you know, everyone's bringing him so many gifts and things. And Narada said, but you only take what you need. So Mrigari was having a problem. He only needs 1 or 2 hands worth of food, but everyone's giving him 20 hands worth of food, with 20 hands giving him everything he needs. So Mrigari has to give out so much back away. And he's like, can you please tell them to, when he next sees Narada, he says, can you please tell them to bring less? I don't need this much. This is actually Krishna consciousness. This is what happens. You break your bow. Everyone's got their own different bow, whatever their bow is. You break your bow and you sit down and you surrender unto the Lord. And what happens? You can't even, it's coming from so many different avenues. You got to tell people, like, back off a little bit here. This is Krishna consciousness. You'll only ask for 1 or 2 hands, and Krishna's got like 10 or 20 ready to give you everything you need. Why? Because you're giving everything to him. Kunti was that type of devotee. She always was, and even in all kinds of tribulations, she's still glorified 5,000 plus years later. Why? Because of how the devotee is put in tribulation by the Lord. Why? Because the devotee will show up in an exemplary way and will teach others. Even myself, I'm a very meager but there's a few instances of my life where I actually just tried to apply this. I've told you guys a few different stories. But even just the other day, with the attorney thing, I was like, you know what? Time is running out. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm going to get screwed. I'm going to get in trouble for this contract I just underwent if I don't get this attorney by today. But I was like, you know what? Just chant. It's going to work out. Like, this is our process. I had to break my bow of like, no, I got to call this person, and I got to call this person, and I got to call. And I was like, and what happened? It worked out in a miraculous way, even after everyone else was closed for the weekend, and boom, And what's to speak? I'm a pathetic devotee. What's to speak of, someone really surrendered, someone really, into it. So we have to take the example of these great devotees who have surrendered unto, the empowered gurus. Narada being like one of the empowered gurus. In our lineage of gurus, Narada is like second from the Sampradaya. Brahma is the head of the Sampradaya. Krishna is the head of the Sampradaya. But Krishna actually enlightened Brahma at the beginning of creation through the Gayatri Mantra. But anyhow, this is our process. This is our lineage, and it takes a level of surrender. We have so much. What do we have faith in? We might have faith in the societal model. You got to work. You got to get your cash. You got to do this. You got to do that. I've seen it in my life. It doesn't have to work that way. Actually, there's a much better system. Just surrender unto the Lord and give Him all of your work, all of your endeavor, and everything works out. It's amazing, actually. I'm just shocked every day that, like, somehow or other, everything that I need is taken care of. I can't even express how this happens. I don't know. Like, everyone else can plan it out, Like, all right, well, I'll go to work, I'll get the paycheck will cover this bill, that bill, that bill, and that bill, and then I can set up my life. The devotee has like this mystical arrangement where everything you need will come. Everything you need. You'll never be able to see it how it comes. You just always have faith. And you'll have everything you need. So Kunti is one of those devotees. And now she's lamenting. You're going to see why. Let's read one verse. Oh, that's a purport. That's a good purport. Let's read the verse and the Sanskrit, the translation, and then we'll pick up here tomorrow. Kuntyuvacha Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param
prakrite param
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam
alakshyam sarva bhutanam
antarbahir avastitam
antarabhira parasitam
Kunti uvacha.
divacha
Srimati Kunti said, Namasye, let me bow down. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Tva, you. Adyam, the original. Ishwaram, the controller. Prakrite, of the material cosmos. Param, beyond. Alakshyam, the invisible. Sarva, all. Bhutanam, of living beings. Anta, within. Bahi, without. Avasthitam, existing. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Let's see, this isn't that bad, we're just going to read it. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Although he was playing the part of her nephew, such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apter, they have the tendency to fall down under the clutches of material nature, meaning we get overwhelmed by the material energy. But the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanash Chaitananam in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. Then again, he is addressed as Ishwara, or the controller. The living entities, or the demigods like Chandra and Surya, are also to some extent Ishwara. But none of them is the supreme Ishwara, or the ultimate controller. He is the Parameshwar, or the Supersoul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas, I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashvatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all-pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both. But he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. And it is explained as follows. So now we're going to actually get a very deep understanding of Maya and how to ultimately undercome. It's perfect. Krishna has such a perfect system here. You are not going to be able to cheat Krishna. He is the topmost cheater. So he'll make you think that you're going to be able to do it and that you're going to get away with it, but ultimately it'll never work out. He'll always cheat you at the end way more than you were thinking. You see this, because we do our devotion, our devotional activities, wanting the fruits, wanting to enjoy the fruits of karma, maybe some position, maybe some wealth, maybe some sense gratification. All this, or even jnana, knowledge to liberate yourself, all these things. Or maybe we want mystic perfections from the yoga system. We want to become great yogis and achieve all kinds of, prowess in the mystic ability field. But ultimately, what's sustaining all of those systems? The Lord is delivering the fruits of all of those things. And yet, if you ultimately, because you're a rebellious soul and you want those other things which are less rather than wanting the Lord himself, he'll say, okay, fine, come. Here's a system for you. Here's the karma. Here's the basic dharma system. Just do your duty in the world. Go to work. Do this. Provide for your family. You'll get those things that you're looking for. If you work hard enough, you'll get everything you want. If not, then he starts giving the yoga process, karma yoga, how to actually start surrendering some of the fruits of our activities that we're entangled with in the world and actually giving them back to the Lord in some way or another. Then that will teach us jnana. It'll ultimately, when you start giving away the fruits of your results, you become detached, you become sober. Like an addict. A lot of addicts, it's hard for them to just quit cold turkey, so maybe they wean off. But ultimately, if you see, like I've been Alcoholics Anonymous a few times, one of the things, the conclusions is they cannot go in a place where people are drinking alcohol, because it'll just be so tempting that boom, they'll just start again, and it'll be like a snowball effect. If we somehow can sober up from this, karma yoga is how we do that. We need to sober up from trying to enjoy the fruits of our activities. All right, well, I want this for this purpose, that purpose, and this person. Have all our karma goals in this world. But if by doing karma yoga, by offering the fruits back to the Lord, this is the sobering process. And this will help us cultivate jnana, to know, well, actually, none of these things can make me happy anyway. Better I give it. Better I give it in charity. Better I don't and make all this endeavor for this. So what ends up happening is you get very, very learned in how the system of the universe works. You understand all the intricacies of karma, the living entity, the Lord, and so on. And maybe you sit to do, maybe I should do bhajan. Maybe I should do meditation instead. And then jnana leads to, the path of a yogi. And then Krishna says, of all the yogis, the one who's completely in thought and in focus on me, he's the topmost yogi. And that yogi, becomes the bhakti yogi. And then now, because they're in such knowledge, and also they're already fixed in meditation, and they realize the futility of anything else, they engage in bhakti yoga. And all of their activities become transformed into devotional activities. And in those devotional activities, then, the real fruits, the real things come. And you get everything you need anyway. I couldn't have even prayed for the life I have. I couldn't even have even conceived or fathomed, like, okay, this is what I want. I could have never understood that this would even be pleasurable to me, to dress up like this every day and offer flowers and take care of the deities and, somehow see that the Lord is within the deities and that they're not just statues and meditate on these things. No one could have ever told me, and it never would have appealed to my logic. But just after the process of doing devotional activities, the Lord reveals. He reveals himself in different avenues that you'll never be able to figure out. You'll never be able to formulate a plan like that. But he's got something, but it takes surrender. It takes surrender. And the 6 limbs of surrender are what? You remember? There's 2 types of activities. One you should do and one you should not do. Yes. Activities that are favorable for your Krishna consciousness, you should always do those activities. Activities that are not favorable, and a lot of times association that is favorable and unfavorable, it fits into this. For your Krishna consciousness, you should avoid those things. That's the first 2 limbs of surrender. The 3rd limb of surrender is to always trust that the Lord is 2 things, 3rd and 4th. He will maintain you, and he will protect you. Maintain, meaning you'll have everything you need through your surrender unto the Lord. And then protection, if anyone steps against you, because inevitably the living entities will step against you, because we're full of a world of rebellious living entities who naturally like to rebel against the Lord. So they're going to step against you if you're trying to surrender to the Lord. He'll protect you. And then the 5th is that whatever the Lord does, you understand this is your will. The Christians pray this, thy will shall be done. That's a limb of surrender. That's a limb of surrender to understand whatever you have arranged, this is perfect. This is perfect. I trust you 100%. I'm surrendered to this. No problem. And then the final one, do you know it? It's Trinadapi Sunichena. Be humble. This naturally will humble you. To be surrendered to the Lord, you know that I can't do anything on my own. I'm useless on my own. I've just suffered so many times just trying to do things on my own. So Lord, I'm here for you. And it naturally makes you very humble and very tolerant. Why? Because if someone abuses you, say, oh, this is the Lord's plan for me for whatever reason. Okay, I trust you, Lord. So you'll be humble, you'll be tolerant. These are the limbs of surrender. So I wish you all this surrender. I wish you all to be like Mrgari the hunter, who goes from a brutal hunter to a great saintly person who wouldn't even kill an ant. I wish you the devotion of Kunti, this fixed devotion, and we're going to get into it now, and it's going to be a very, very prominent theme. Queen Kunti's prayers are wonderful, wonderful. So we'll get into that tomorrow. Special thanks to Ben for joining us in the morning. That's very missed. I don't know if you, when you were here, I don't think we were doing a lot of the things we're doing now.
We were doing morning classes, not Bhagavatam specifically.
Yeah, we were reading, doing the group readings. That's right. Yeah, Tanma, you were here for that too when we started that a long while back. But yeah, so we were doing, and just again, the kirtan was very nice when you were here. Yeah, the mridanga was very nice. So we're lacking mridanga. So it's interesting Krishna has sent you. So
Yeah, I do have Wednesday off.
What's that? Wednesday.
I'll be here for program.
Yeah, that is a wonderful blessing, and we'll take whatever we can get. We'll just be greedy, and if somehow or ever Ben can come, we'll be very happy. But thank you guys. Have a good day. Today will be a lighter day on service because there's nothing to cook because we have so much food. Please eat very nicely and take something with you too, Ben.